Hi, my name's Bruce, and we're going to look at the Intersection Observer API today. And the plan is to do something like this. You can see in my Figma, I've got a little description here. As the user scrolls, we're going to use Intersection Observer to remove the blur class on the images. So it'll look something kind of like this is what I'm picturing, is the images that we can fully see are going to be unblurred or not blurred. And then until they come into view completely, then the images will be blurred. And hopefully that animation will draw the user's eye to the next image, and they will focus on what we want them to focus on. So I've already started building. I've got the gallery here with the blurred images, and we can see here there's an image filter that has a lot of kind of cool things, and we're going to be using Gaussian blur, or a blur, as you can see, and I've set it to 6 pixels. Without the blur, the images are of course not blurry. So let's get started. So I've got my HTML, and I've got some well-structured semantic HTML here. So a body, a nav, a header, a main, a section. And then in the section, I've got 24 figures with images and fig caption. This should be pretty standard for you. Although, again, still, I haven't filled out my fig captions, and I should. I've got 2 style sheets, one just kind of a regular thing with the reset, I believe, in it from Web 2. Not even sure if it's doing much. And I've also got the observer, which is where we're going to be adding our stuff, our styles. For this project. So far, I've got. I'm just setting the image widths to maximum to 100%. So it should be pretty or somewhat mobile first. Setting the actual gallery element to 94% of the width of the viewport, or 94 VW. So the gallery element will only end up going up to 94% of the page at max, and so we can see that it keeps a little bit of a margin around the outside. After that, we've got our figures and thumbnails, and I've set the max width to 600. So if we go over 600 pixels, the images don't get too blurry because they're only 400 pixels wide. And then I've centered it using the margin 0 auto trick. I've already looked at it, but only the images inside the gallery are going to be getting this filter blur. But really what I want to do is, instead, I'm going to create a class. So again, gallery image blur. And so this is a class that's inside the image file, and I'm going to set that to blur. And then here I'm going to do filter none. So we're going to remove it once we get it there. So we can see here, obviously, there's no more blur, but now I'm just going to go into my HTML, and inside all the images, I'll just use the alt class here. I'm going to replace that with class equals blur. And now this should be back to blurred. So what we want to do is, once the image is fully into view, we want to remove the blur class from those images. Right? So you can see the blur class right here. Sounds good? Let's get going. So I've created my observer JavaScript, and have I linked it? No, I haven't. So let's come here and link it. So script, and we're going to do JS and observer JS, And I'll put defer here, even though we don't really have to because it's at the bottom, but just in case you're one of those that likes to put it up at the top. So if I refresh, I should see a console log. Yay. Okay. So let's get started building our JavaScript. So we know already that we want to get the an array of all of the images or all of the figures. So I'm going to go let thumbs, no, I'm going to do constant thumbs. So this is the same thing we did for the gallery, equals document, query selector all, and we're going to do gallery image. Okay, and then what we're going to be doing is looping through all of these. So thumbs, so that's our array, and then we're going to use a for each loop again, and then we can call them thumb, right? Because there's individual thumbs, and then we will put what we need to do in here. So console warn thumb. And so that should give us that list of thumbs in the console. Error. Oh, because I said warn instead of log. Okay, let me change it to log. There we go. And now we can see the actual images with that class in it. Okay. So let's go and take a look at the intersection observer. So I'm in the Mozilla Developer Network, and looking in the intersection observer API. Right, we've already taken a look at this in class. So I'm just going to come down here and copy the code, and you can see we've got the options for our intersection observer, and I'm going to put the root as null, so it's using the entire screen, and we'll keep margin and scroll margin at 0, and we'll keep the threshold at 100 or at 1 or 100% of the full thing. And then here we've created the observer object and instantiating a new intersection observer. I'm going to call the callback remove blur. Right, so we can use that to remove the blur, and options are going to be loading the options into the intersection observer. So what I'd like to do is to apply that intersection observer to each thumb or to each image. So let's scroll down here. We'll copy the whole thing. We've called it remove blur. All right, so we have to do this observe target. So in here, we're going to go observer, observe, and then we've called it thumb. And I'm going to take this and put it down below where we've created that. Okay, I have no idea if this is going to work yet. If entry is intersecting, so what we want to do is do entry target. Let's just do a quick console log first. Console log entry.target. And let's see what happens. Let's get rid of this log. Unobserve. There you go. Observer unobserve. Why would it be remove? I don't know. And I've used entry. Okay, entry target. Okay, and so that should just clean it up, make sure we don't have any errors. Yeah, and then you can see it's still working, and we've got that nice little animation from blur to the thing. Yeah, so I hope that helps.